All right, the little one's to bed. Let's have another episode of the Slightly Informed Podcast, episode number 5. We got to start out with the Olympics, right? Sha'Carri Richardson, she took silver, which, all right, I was talking a lot of shit. I was talking big shit. Like, I was just talking big shit about it. I really thought she was going to win. She didn't. It happens. The woman that won, salute to her. She is from... Oh yeah, bro. She's from like Saint Lucia or something like that, bro. I ain't never been down there, but I'm glad the islands. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of fast people down there. Someone was like, "What is it? America has 15 medals in the 200-meter overall, and Jamaica has 13." And they're like, "We have 331 million people." Not everybody running. It's just it is what it is. Like our fastest track woman athlete is currently cooking dinner for some ain't shit dude right now. Like, that's really what happens in America. I'm sure it might be the same in Jamaica, but at the end of the day, it sucks because a lot of women do not get the opportunity to go do what they need to do. But Sha'Carri did, and she got silver. And like at the end of the day, I'm still proud and like I think it's dope as shit what she did. She came back from Tokyo in 2021, got disqualified because she was smoking weed, went back and just killed. She was winning everything. And at the end of the day, I think she's about to win a whole bunch more stuff. So, it is what it is. She got the silver, and then she was able to come back to this Olympics. And a lot of fuck shit has been going on with the Olympics. Like, I don't know if y'all have been hip to a lot of the goings on, but like even for example, the Olympics is in Paris. I think Paris. I've never been. I would like to go. It's a historic city. It's beautiful. It has food, some really really good food. Personally, I like Italian food better. I guess maybe I gotta go to France. I don't know, but every French restaurant I go to, I'm always sitting there and I'm like, could have had some pasta. Could have had some pasta. The one thing I do got a hold on bread, baguettes, brioche, two best breads, point blank period. I like the Japanese milk bread, but I haven't had like real Japanese milk bread. I want to try it. I want to go to Japan, give me a little milk bread. You know what I'm saying? Give me one of them sandwiches. I don't know if a steak sandwich would be good on milk bread though. Like, I don't know. But then also the Japanese, man, they was doing their thing. They did alright at the Olympics, but America still got gold. Let me wrap up the Sha'Carri topic. Fuck all y'all haters. She's still out here killing it, man, and she's going to keep killing it. And I think she'll be at the next Olympics in 2028, representing for LA. It'll probably be her last. But what? She'll be 20. I think she'll be 28. Like, I think she'll be like 27, 28 at that point because she's like 23, 24 now. So, like, this next one is like her prime. The next Olympics, 2028. I really wish she was going in with gold. It is what it is. But America still did their thing and are doing their thing. Did you see Sydney McLaughlin-Lavore? I believe her name is. Little light skin. You know what I'm saying? Right for Team Light Skin out there. See, bro, she makes that 400 look so easy. She's running that 400 with hurdles. Like, she would qualify with hurdles for damn near every women's meet across the country. She definitely qualified for KU relays for the regular 400. She got running 400. Throw some hurdles on there. I don't think she would win, but she would still be up there. She'd be fucking competitive, which is wild. And she has the last 6 records. That's insane. She just keeps her and Katie Ledecky. They're just racing against each other. They're racing against themselves at this point. And the crazy thing about Sydney is I'm pretty sure she's only Sha'Carri's age. So she got another Olympics. So we about to run roughshod again. And then tomorrow we got our 4x4 team. Oh, okay, I got to give a shout out to Femke Bol. The Dutch runner. I saw what she did in that 4x4. That shit was insane, bro. Like, she just came back, hit another gear, like, hadn't seen anything like that in a 400 meter until Quincy Hall. God damn. Like, what was he? That was crazy. Like my man was but my man was running like one of these numbers, and he still won. Like if every coach out there was looking at like, God damn it, because they know when they go to practice, when they go to sprint and practice, someone's gonna be like, well, Quincy did it. Quincy hit him with one of these. Quincy was like, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do whatever you got to do to get them legs moving, man. And he hit a gear that it's not just about running. Like that's the dope thing about it is like he hit a second like gear. He dug deep. Like that type of willpower. They say the 400 is the most physically painful race. And they say I think it's because the way that your body burns energy by the time you cannot sprint the entire thing. So by the time you're hitting that back curve, your body has already spent all of the energy that it can to do that particular task, and you still got another 100 meters to go. And this motherfucker Quincy Hall, he saw that. He was in like fourth or fifth, like not even in contention to get on the podium, and he just dug deep, just head wobbling. It don't matter though because he got that torso, that chest. Which brings us to Noah Lyles. Got the bronze, had COVID, got the bronze in the 200. That's normally his event. You can tell, like, when you watched it, he kind of gave up at the end. And I don't know, man. Like, I think it's his character. I think this is just kind of who he is. He realized he wasn't going to win, and he kind of gave up. And yes, he probably did get diagnosed with COVID 2 days ago. Cool. Go win. Like, end of the day, you came out jumping, came out doing all that extra stuff. Shouldn't have been jumping. Should have been chilling. Should have maybe that little bit of energy would have been that little kick that you had. But, I mean, at the end of the day, still a gold medalist. Still the fastest man in the world. The 100-meter is what determines the fastest man in the world. And I'm sure everybody's going to be like, well, this, and that, and this, and that, and this. You can't change it up after, to fit your narrative. At the end of the day, the fastest man in the world is whoever runs the fastest 100-meter dash. That's just what we count it as. Like, we don't talk about the fastest mile runner as the fastest man in the world, but he is. He is the fastest at that particular event. When we say the fastest man in the world, we're talking about the 100. Like, that's just what we are. Like, when we talk about the fastest woman in the world, that's why Sha'Carri, she can't say that. Like, she didn't get a gold medal. She's a medalist. She's a silver medalist. That shit is super dope. I'm very, very proud and happy with what she did. I'm glad that Noah, you know what I'm saying, maybe next time, because I think he's got one. I think he'll be in LA too. Maybe next time he'll chill out. Maybe next time he'll just go race. I don't know, man. I'm all for talking. Like, it's one of those things where I'm all for talking shit if you win, but if you lose, shouldn't have been talking shit. That's it. Like, at the end of the day, it is real, real nice when you win, but if you lose, you shouldn't have been talking shit. It just is what it is. Like, I don't know why anyone has to be consistent in that. Like, well, you were so happy when he did it. Yeah, he was winning. Yeah, I was happy when he was winning. That was the winning was the main part. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. I love, what was it? They say that who was it? The coach for Miami, Jimmy Johnson. They said when he walked into the locker room, he looked at all the Cowboys in the face and said, I'm going to treat you all the same. Different. It is what it is. I don't know why we as a society expect everything to be fair. Like, it'd be nice. That's what we should work towards. That's an ideal that we should have. But, like, when it's not that, it ain't that. So stop fucking bitching about it and get on top. That's the beauty of America. That's why we have the most Olympic gold medals. I just saw a stat today. I think we have 19 Olympic gold medals just in track and field. I think we have 32 overall. Next closest country has like one gold medal. It's a round robin except for America when it comes to track and field. And at the end of the day, that's the real Olympics, okay? All right? Track, field, wrestling. Except for I saw there was hey, look, there's some people from, I don't know what's going on in Rockville, Hagerstown, but they seem to have a good program out there because they put multiple people in the Olympics. But it ain't good enough because all those people got crushed in the Olympics, which is fine though. I mean, you still, at the end of the day, like, we talk shit from our couch, but these are still some of the best athletes in the world. I do want to say one thing though. I do not think that these are sports, quote unquote, which is fine. Why does everything need to be a sport? Why do we have this urge for, it to be a sport. It's like, should we not respect things that aren't sports? I think these are events and competitions. I have a very strict I have a very strict definition of sports. I think sports needs to be two opposing teams or people competing over some sort of mulligan. Like they have to, because I think it's very important that like looking your opponent in the eye, them saying I'm going to stop you, and then you saying no you're not. Like I think that's the defining thing about sports. Because like when you're in track, it's like no, I'm going to beat you, but you can't reach over and stop the other dude from running. Like you can't do that. You can't be like hey no no. And I think that that is what separates sports. I think that's what separates sports from competitions. I think there's a lot of track events. Whatever. I'm not an athlete. Like I'm not like I'm athletic, but I'm not about to sit down and say I'm a professional athlete. And I'm sure a lot of professional athletes will feel a different way about it. But if you're not, if someone isn't standing in front of you saying no, like that's something that you have to overcome in sports and something that you have to overcome in life. And that's why I think that sports are different. But it doesn't mean that they're any worthy of any more or less respect. It is what it is. Like Noah Lyles, bro, they're running 100 meters in less than 10 seconds. That's insane. I don't know the last time any of you have ran 100 meters, but that shit ain't close. That shit is not close. That shit is way further than you think it is. Like, you get about 40, 50 meters in, and it's like, hey, man, you gonna have to bring that 100 a little closer to me. You had to walk that down here. You got to bring that finish line to me. Had to hit him with the Aladdin. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with that. I'm shooting niggas. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't think y'all really understand how far 100 meters is. So like, what they're doing is impressive. What Simone Biles did is impressive. Like, do you see the way that she flips in the air? That is first of all, they're running straight into essentially a table. Just like, hey man, like who came up with that? So it just said, hey man, I bet I can flip over that table better than you could flip over that table. You mean we're gonna flip it up? No, I'm gonna run full speed at it. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna put my hands on, bang, and I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna do a bunch of flips. I'm gonna do maybe a little twist in there. I might flip. You know, twist and shout. What you wanna do? Who is sitting there? That's the thing. Like, look. I think gymnastics should absolutely be an Olympic sport. Them niggas was doing kite surfing. That's an Olympic sport. Like, come on, man. We need kite surfing be an Olympic sport. Like, we need to rejigger some of these, man. Like, yeah, some of them water sports. But then again, I do like the water sports. But those are like rich people sports. Like because to just have a boat, you have to have a certain amount of money, right? And to have like a canoe that you could like fuck up and beat up, you gotta have multiple canoes. You gotta canoe up. You know what I'm saying? I think most of the rowing squads are like that's an Ivy League sport. You know, I think Harvard and them are at the top of that, and it ain't because those people are smarter than other people, just because they can afford to row. That's like fencing. I wish I could get my son into fencing. I don't know how to do it. I don't know anybody. I know where a fence is, but I don't think that's the same type of fence. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to take offense. Maybe be on a little defense. For what? Why? All right, man. Speaking of athletics, there was a death in the CrossFit community. I have no idea why this is even a thing. I think it's a bunch of people like me who are corporate, who are athletic, who can't make the Olympics, but still decide that they want to compete at stuff, which I can't be mad. You know, go compete. Do your Tough Mudder. Prove it to yourself. Stay away from your family. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you got to do to not jerk off all day. Like, I don't know, whatever you got to do. It's a bunch of single people. They're normally, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to still call them yuppies, you know, people who have the time to, because apparently CrossFit is kind of expensive. You got to join these gyms that are like $500 a month, and you got to get all the gear. Anyway, today in Texas, they had the CrossFit Games. And the CrossFit Games it seems like it's just like a triathlon. Like, you do some triathlon with a couple more obstacles, but there's also a swim, and I guess they swim in some lake in Texas, which, you know, that's up to you. They don't got gators. Well, I think Eastern Texas does, but they weren't in Eastern Texas. I'm pretty sure they were by like Fort Worth, that area of Texas, and one of the swimmers drowned. And apparently there is a video of it. Yep. Not great. Not great. Like, y'all really should just get you an office treadmill, get you a standing desk. You know what I'm saying? Go run. I run. I run. You know what I'm saying? Just go. You don't got to do all the extra stuff. Just run. Like, I understand you want to challenge your body. You want to do this. You want to do that. You look silly. You're too damn old to be doing all of this. That's why they. And then someone died. Someone died. What, 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 why would you do that? Why would you participate in all of this? And I get it. I get it. I get it. You wake up every day. You're single. You know. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna get drunk every night? That'll give us hangovers. It gives bad stomach ulcers. It's bad. You don't want to drink every night. Well, at least not without a purpose. So you drink some nights, and you don't really have any hobbies or personality. So you have to create one. And you were an athlete in high school, almost guaranteed. Like, you were probably a better athlete than I ever was in my entire life. I also liked myself, so that's a thing that I have. I rather enjoyed who I was. That being said, you probably didn't. You probably poured it all into athletics, and for whatever reason, either you were too short, weren't strong enough, didn't have quite enough high twitch muscle fibers, possibly didn't have like the willpower, because a lot of it is really willpower is what I'm seeing. The older I get, that willpower shit, that hockey shit. Anyway, so, you went and got a job, high achiever. You know what I'm saying? Went to a good school. You know what I'm saying? Probably one of those schools up on the East Coast. Went to one of those good schools, graduated very high in class, got a job right out of school, and now your life's kind of empty. You might have a dog, you go out on a lot of dates, you're on Tinder, you're on the apps, but they don't quite fulfill it because you don't have a personality, and a lot of the people you're meeting, they don't have personalities, or y'all are both just like, y'all just have that one thing that just makes you ridiculously weird. And not like weird, but makes it like undateable. So you throw yourself back into athletics. That's what you were good at. That's the last time you were happy. That's when people liked you. And you find yourself in a little tribe, community, if you will. Because that's what we're all searching for, is like some sort of community. I, generally find it in my family and in comedy and in public defenders. You find it in athletics, even though you're way too old to really do anything of any consequence in said athletics. So, but CrossFit. And CrossFit is hard. Like, not for nothing, I'm not doing CrossFit. The fuck I look like. I don't need to be that fit, and I don't even like crosses. I went to the street the other day. I didn't cross. I walked around. I don't even cross streets. So why would I CrossFit? I ain't doing none of that. So, but you are a high achiever. So you go ahead and you get your little CrossFit, and you get your little outfits, you pay your little $500 a month for the gym, and then you're like, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. I'm pretty motherfucking good at this. I'm about to go down to Texas and I'm going to win. I'm going to win against all these other higher achievers. And then you die. And then you die in a motherfucking lake in Texas while people are literally swimming over your head. And everybody that's involved got to wake up and go to work on Monday. That's what you did. That's what happened. I don't want to make fun of people, but this seems like something that you can make at least a little bit of fun of. Like, why are we doing CrossFit? Y'all really gotta love yourselves, man. I really think y'all gotta find healthy habits that aren't swimming in a lake in Texas with a bunch of other middling yuppies that face death and loneliness for the rest of their life because they refuse to develop a personality or have any likable traits, to be honest. But they are really good at, I think CrossFit is like ladders. It looks like terrorist training. Remember those videos from the early 2000s? Where you would see Al Qaeda and they would be like in the woods and they would be, they jump down and then they might have an AK-47 and they stab. Ooh, and it was supposed to be like scary and intimidating. It just seems like y'all appropriated that culture. That's what CrossFit culture is. That's what CrossFit culture is. It is early 2000 terrorist training in Afghanistan. That's what y'all are doing, and y'all just moved to Texas. Hey, it's a similar like landscape. You know what I'm saying? You can set up some monkey bars out there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe little tires. Tires. Flip the tire. Flip the tire. This, if I do this, I don't have to think about how lonely I am. That being said, I'm gonna run a marathon. I think I am. Don't quote me on that. I mean, you can. It doesn't really matter. I'm either gonna do it or I'm not gonna do it. But I think I would like to. I think it would be like a good challenge for me. But I'm not gonna be all gay about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do need to get some better shorts because I chafe. Run tip, pro tip, get you some nice shorts. You chafe. But I'm not. I haven't gotten like nipple bleeding. I haven't ran that far yet. So we'll see. I don't know about this whole marathon thing. But what I do know is my man Walls. I called it. Called it. I think it was like episode 2 or 3. Tim Walz. I think he's what America needs. He's he's like America's. You know, like I said, it's drunk on. It's you got your drunk auntie and Kamala, and then you got your fun dad that's still cool, and he's a little grumpy sometimes. He's gonna be a little grumpy sometimes. That's because he's seen some shit. Tim Walz may or may not have seen some shit. I guess he was in the military. They're talking about a scandal about his record. He was a command sergeant major. That he was. But I don't think he had the actual rank for it yet. But that's a thing that like happens in the Army and the federal government all the time. I think you can go 2 up and 1 down. Is you often do a spot that's higher than your rank. And then once you get in the spot and they see that you're doing well in it, then they give you said rank. And that's what was happening with Mr. Walz. He was pinning his paperwork. I guess, you know, he was the command sergeant major. He had pinned his paperwork. He wanted to run for Congress, which is like a wild thing for, but it used to be fairly normal. Like that used to, a lot of our politicians used to go into the military. We used to see it as a virtue. I want to say Bill Clinton might have been the first one that did not serve like in any capacity. Because even George W. Bush, he was in the Air National Guard in Texas. So I'm pretty sure like Bill Clinton, Obama, I think Biden served. I'm pretty sure Biden served. He might have been in Vietnam. Like Biden old. He Vietnam old. Like we might have had a Vietnam vet, but I feel like I would have heard more about it. But then also probably not, because we're not finally, but I feel like we're in like a real 90s place with politics right now. Like it's a lot of feel good. It's a lot of feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I think the Democrats are doing a really good job right now of being the feel good party, of being the party of like happiness and joy, and they're just letting JD Vance be weird. We'll talk about him in a second. They're letting Trump spiral. We'll talk about him in a second. But I think this Walz pick really like it took it back to like a populist movement as opposed to a like we were up here as a country. We were hot. We were running hot. And now we're kind of I think we're kind of like cooling off, and I think it'd be fun. And maybe that is just the political cycles of America. Like we go through some really tough political cycles. We go through the civil rights movement. We do all of that, and then at the end of it, you elect Reagan, and everybody's happy, except for black people and all the people whose lives Reaganomics ruined. But people did seem genuinely happy during the Reagan administration, and then you get George Herbert. You get Herb, good old Herb. And this month, he didn't get the presidency because he didn't know which socks. That socks came in plastic bags. Because he was rich his entire life, so socks just appeared in his drawer. So him, trying to be relatable to the common man, he goes to one of those newfangled things called malls. And while old Herb's at the mall, when he finds a pack of socks, and he is just befuddled. Just goddamn confused at why these socks are in this plastic. Which is kind of good because he's right. Socks probably shouldn't be in plastic. Like, that's a crazy waste of plastic and resources. But that's not why he was confused. He was confused because he was rich. And he was like, why did you poor people put socks in plastic? Don't you know they just show up in your dresser drawer? Duh. But even he served. Old Herb, he served. Bill didn't serve. Bill played the saxophone. Bill was with them hoes, man. Bill didn't have time to serve the country. He was serving them hoes, while Hillary was being very unlikable the entire time. But so we go through the civil rights movement and all of that, and then we get Reagan and the country's feeling fine. Then we get Herb and the country's stupid, and then we hit the 90s and we make a lot of money. And we're on the upswing, and everybody's fucking, you're dancing with the pads on the shoulders. The women had the pads on the shoulders. They had the pantsuits. No. Hillary started the pantsuits, but she didn't start it until later. I remember I seen her. You know what I'm saying? She used to wear the dress with the pads and stuff. She used to have her hair, you know what I'm saying, back in a ponytail. Young Hillary, clap it like this. I don't know why everybody in the 90s clapped like this. I wonder if they knew that we were going to look at them years down the line and be like, why are you clapping like that? That's so weird. It's so culty. Everything was culty. But we had the tech boom, right? We had the tech boom in the 90s. We don't really have a boom now, but I think we're just tired. We're just tired of like the hateful politics. That's why we want to go like it's been so much anger for the last 8, 10 years since like the last couple years of the Obama administration. Really, we're talking like 2010ish. I mean, no, we're talking like 2016. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the Me Too movement, which it was about time that something like that needed to happen. But then it kind of kept going, and then it kind of became activism used to be something that you did. It wasn't your identity. And we weren't teaching kids that you had to be activists. We have a whole generation of kids who are now in college that we taught that being an activist was a virtuous part of your personality. And I'm not saying that it's not, but also not everyone's an activist. You get a lot of people that are just narcissists. And before, they would go into the arts, which I guess they kind of did. And is why stand-up comedy was really really hard for a while. I mean, it wasn't, I should have been doing a lot more with it, but it was a lot of virtue signaling, it was a lot of performance, and I think it was on both sides too. And it was like, it started being like, once Republicans started being whiny, it got real played out real quick. It was what do they call them? I don't know. They basically called them crybabies while they were crying. And it was just kind of like, well, this is exhausting. We're over it. And then you throw a Trump in there who does not know how to be civil. Like, he just does not know. Like, I think he's really good in the room, but I don't think that he knows, like, I think he's a very deeply insecure person, which it is what it is. You don't get that rich or successful by being secure in yourself. That's very, very rare. I always like to say, you don't build the pyramids because you had a big dick. No. You're doing that because you got some shit to prove. So Trump, and then it spread through the party, and it's just exhausting because you got one side yelling at you because you don't support Palestine, which, like, it's complicated. Like, it's complicated. It just is. It just is. And, like, if we don't do it, then Russia's going to do it. And if Russia does it, who would you rather have running an entire region full of oil? America or Russia? And you can be like, well, Russia. I'm sure there's people that are like, well, Moscow is a great country. They're not. I just, people didn't literally escape the Soviet Union for you to sit there and be like, no, it's much better. That type of and it's funny because it's bad for both. It's communism and it's communism. Like, because it's eventually leads to dictatorship because it's a concentration of power, and when power is concentrated, it often corrupts itself because it's concentrated. It's really only a small number of people who have the control of everybody else's life. And when people have control over everyone else's life, specifically when they have control over the army, it gets real murky, which is why the American system of government is far superior to anything that the Ruskies have ever come up with, whether it's their imperialism or their communism or whatever the hell they got going on right now. American system of government and economy is better. I will die on that hill every single time. It is superior to all others. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Europe. Had a whole union and couldn't even keep fucking crazy ass Britain part of it. Get out of here. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that, but I do know that we are back to a feel good time in politics, and it's just been too long. It's just been too long, and it's nice that it's going to be like fun and cool and chill again. And I want to talk about JD Vance. I don't want to talk about him too much, but this man is just stepping in it. Like, he's trying to stir up this controversy about Tim Walz's record, and in doing so, he's challenging actual generals and stuff. JD Vance is conducting this campaign like it's a Reddit forum, but it's real life. Like you can't keep doing that. You can't keep challenging people. You can't keep you want to be at least a little bit likable, but he doesn't. So he is where he is, and I'm pretty sure Trump's going to fire him. And then Trump, he's having a complete meltdown. Anytime his numbers are down, you already know what's coming. You know that fake news, the news is fake. These numbers, these poll numbers, I don't know where they get them. And it's not looking good. And he's going to spiral, and he's going to try to attack Kamala. And Kamala she is actually like really, really good at handling those type of attacks. And like, she's crafty. She was a DA. She's the police. You know what I'm saying? For a long, and on top of that, she's a trial attorney. Like, no matter what, she was a trial attorney for however long she was a trial attorney, however many trials she had. She sat her ass in that chair and she tried cases. So hitting her with like hard questions and things like that, it's just not going to work. I don't know if that means she's going to win though. I don't know. I will be the first to say it. I am 99.999% sure that Trump has a plan to not certify the electors in states that he has put the secretaries of state. Wherever state Trump has, there's a MAGA Secretary of State. Keep an eye on that motherfucker. I'm talking about you, Georgia. I'm talking about you, I think Michigan. And there was like another state up there that I'm pretty sure has a MAGA Secretary of State. I don't know how that's going to play out, but I guess we're going to see. We're going to do one more thing and I'm going to get up out of here. I don't want to take too much of y'all time, but there was a club in Atlanta and they got evicted. Apparently, it was a very, very popular nightclub. Apparently, the owner of the building is a Christian and wanted to rebuke the devil's music. Let me see. Matter of fact, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up right now. I generally don't do this, but for this particular reaction, whatever. I'll put it up right here. So, maybe I'll go right here. Yeah, I'll put it up right here. So the nightclub, they get evicted, and so the owner throws everything out. I'm talking about like all of their bottles, all of their couches, everything like that, and people were picking through it. They were taking the bottles, they were taking the couches. They probably would have took the little sparklers if they could do something with them, but they ain't give a fuck. And so it's weird to me that when people get evicted, the very first thing that everyone does is goes through and picks through their shit. I think it's kind of fucked up. Because that person is clearly going through a bad day, and you're about to take all their bottles. Okay, but then again, you're a nightclub in Atlanta. At the end of the day, you're a failed business, so I don't feel that bad for you. But also, I think it's hilarious that this motherfucker was taking your bottle of Douce. Look at this video. He took that nigga's bottle of Douce. That's fucking crazy. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening to the Slightly Informed podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And see y'all next week.